playoffs in the NFL, the league does a better job than every other professional sport of dominating the calendar. And in the summertime, that comes in the form of OTAs and mandatory minicamp as we get that first look at a 90-man assembled roster and start to look ahead to training camp battles. The competition is already evident even with the season months away. The winners this past Tuesday, our most recent day, were allowed out of practice. Well, that would be the defense. 2 pick sixes and quite a few defensive stops in multiple team periods during practice, and that seems to show a vast improvement on that side of the ball. With a strong group of incoming players to add to the already stout young nucleus, this Jaguars team that was one of the worst units in the league a season ago seems to be primed to turn things around.
Well, we're playing back. We're playing back to our old ball. You know what I'm saying? We playing what got us here. So going back to those habits, going back to those traits, I feel like it's a good sign. We all making plays. So as long as we all continue to do that, no matter who we got out there, we're gonna be straight. I just love this group. I think we're gonna be, shooting for the stars soon.
As far as things have gone so far, it's an exciting time to be on defense here. And then the guys in front and the guys behind are flying to the ball, making plays all over the field, and it just makes for a fun environment. And it's great. It's great learning so far in the spring. Now we just can't wait to get pads on and start playing real football.
The real football. Can't wait for that. Some good work being put in, lessons being learned in downtown Jacksonville this time of year. All part of the offseason process for the Jags. As always, we like to continue the Jaguars conversation with a segment we call Cover 3. And this week, it's a special edition because Ashlyn Sullivan is in studio.
I can't believe it. It's been a full year. I'm here. It's never felt so good.
Well, we're very excited to have you here, and it makes sense because we've been out on the field sweating. You've been at the stadium for weeks now, watching the OTAs, learning about this team and all the players. So let's start Cover 3 with the first topic. Who's going to have a breakout season this year for the Jags?
Yeah, immediately my mind went to wide receiver DJ Chark, especially when we heard about the conversations with him and head coach Urban Meyer that they're expecting more from him in the season. But then I was at OTAs on Tuesday, and Laviska Shenault, for the 4th time in a row, I could not keep my eyes off of this guy. And all the discussions about Travis Etienne, and he's going to be the offensive weapon this season. I more so see Laviska Shenault being that guy, and we're not talking about him enough. He's having an incredible offseason, gained 10 pounds of muscle. Keep your eyes on this guy. I think we need to pay more attention to him.
I saw a social media post from one of the national writers saying Laviska was going to be the guy, and everyone's like, well, you can have more than one guy, because he was talking about how Etienne was a waste of a pick. No, there are going to be lots of great weapons on this team, on the offense especially. For me, though, I'm going to go with the defense, and I'm going to go with CHAISSON. I like you going with a second-year player, so that's what I'm going to do as well. CHAISSON is going to have such a different role in this offense. You talk about who is going to be the most affected by the change from that 4-3 to a 3-4. It's got to be the small body pass rusher and a guy like CHAISSON. You think Urban Meyer isn't excited about using this guy to get after the quarterback, to use his skill on the outside and be able to scheme against these teams with a guy like CHAISSON? I'm very excited to see what he can do in his second year with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, had such a great college career with LSU, and now we'll see if he can translate that a little more on the field than he did in his rookie campaign. Talking about guys who are good on the field, we move on to number 2 in our Cover 3, and it's number 2 for the Tennessee Titans. Julio Jones. Let's talk about our thoughts for that. I'll lead off. And yes, it's a really good move. I think that they got a bargain, the Tennessee Titans did, to trade for a second-round pick and be able to acquire a guy with his kind of talent. We talk about not having too many, different offensive weapons on the same team. Julio Jones adds a very good dimension to the Tennessee Titans offense. I'm very curious to see how it gels. That team was at its best when Derrick Henry pounded the rock. Now, if you incorporate more and more passing, how much is that going to affect Henry, who's a rhythm runner, and that guy who likes to lean on you in the 4th quarter? So very curious, but all things told, I think they got a bargain with him.
They did, and I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little nervous about this. I go back to memories of standing on the field in Nashville and being like, when is the plane starting? We got to get out of here. It's always the coldest game of the season for some reason.
It's a late game again this year, too.
Goodness, yes. It's been a bad place the past couple of seasons. And now you add this guy opposite of A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, and we were talking about, okay, well, how do you defend this? Okay, you put Shaq Griffin on Julio Jones. Okay, let's put C.J. Henderson here. We'll float the safeties. I don't know how you defend this, and the Titans already made me nervous. This now makes me even more nervous.
Kind of nice when you drafted another cornerback for your team with Campbell this year.
Needed that.
Might need him this year now that we take a look at how the Titans are stacking up with the offense. All right, final topic here on Cover 3. We like to have fun with topic number 3. Sometimes you have a little fun out at OTAs. Yes, there's a lot of football going on, and there's a lot of conversation on the sidelines as well. So the discussion that came up this week, how many Jacksonville Jaguars players know the Rolling Stones? It's a random topic.
It is.
But it's one that, came up when some of the music was being played at OTAs this week.
Yeah, it's a long practice. You're out there for 2 hours, so you kind of have to fill the time at times. And yeah, there was 2 Rolling Stones songs back to back, and the question was asked, all right, how many players on this 90-man roster would know this is the Rolling Stones? I was optimistic. I said 30 players. I think the entire offensive line does. Trevor Lawrence does. Gardner Minshew does. I think 30, but everyone was putting me down saying, no way it's 30.
I'm going to go half that. I'm going half that. I'm going 15, and here's why. The Jacksonville Jaguars last year had the youngest roster in the NFL, an average of 25 years old. If you were to poll an average 25-year-old in this nation, how many of them are going to know about the Rolling Stones? And obviously what a great band they are. They've been going for 60 years. Of course, played right here in Jacksonville 2 years ago with a concert. But I'm going low. I'm going way low on that. Yes, I agree. Gardner Minshew, Trevor Lawrence, those quarterbacks probably know. Some of the offensive line probably does. And maybe a couple other veterans.
Marvin Jones, for sure. Music guy.
Yeah, music guy. Okay. I mean, we're adding them up. I don't think we're adding up to 30,
I'm not very good at math, but you got 3.
I don't think we're going to get to 30. So
I accept defeat. Fine.
All right. Well, we'll do an informal poll later on in the year. All right. That's it for Cover 3. Ashlyn, thank you so much for dropping by the studio.
Thank you for having me. So exciting. Glad to be back.
Of course, you can always get much more from our partners at Jaguars.com. At the aforementioned Jaguars.com. It's a good name for it. Really easy to find. Go check them out.
Action Sports Jax Primetime, Saturday at 10:30 on Fox 30.